The first time she saw him, he was bleeding and laughing at the same time. The flames from the wrecked shuttle danced behind him like wild spirits. His armor was cracked, face bruised, and one arm limp, but his eyes held something strange. Not fear, not anger, curiosity, like he was studying her like a puzzle, not an enemy. And that made her hesitate for the first time in her life as an assassin. Zarina was trained on the ice moons of Krau. She was the best among her sisters, cold and precise. Her mission was clear: eliminate the human who disrupted the Velexi border. Operations. The bounty on his head could feed a whole battalion for a year. But as she crouched above the ruined battlefield, targeting system locked onto his heart, she felt something she'd never known doubt. The man didn't run when she revealed herself. He stood tall, wiped blood from his mouth, and smirked. "If you came to finish me off," he said, "at least let me die standing." His words weren't proud or foolish, they were honest. He knew she was stronger, faster, deadlier. But he wasn't afraid. And that changed everything. She fired anyway, but not at him. A sniper in the distance had him in their scope. Zarina's bolt tore through the hidden shooter's head. The human dropped, rolled for cover, then looked up in disbelief. "You just saved me," he whispered. She didn't reply, just disappeared into the smoke like a ghost. That night, in her hidden tent between the cliffs, she stared at the communicator blinking with orders. Her kill wasn't confirmed. The generals were furious. They demanded proof of his death. Instead, she replayed his voice in her mind over and over. There was something in that tone, a calm challenge, a strange kindness, a fire that didn't burn with hate. She hated herself for remembering it. The next time they met, it was in the ruins of an old observatory. He had stolen a map of Velexi strongholds. She had come to reclaim it, but when they locked eyes again, neither moved. He dropped the map at her feet. "Take it," he said. "I'm not your enemy." His voice didn't shake. His hands were raised in peace. For a killer like her, it should have been easy to end him. But she just stood there, blade in hand, frozen. Zarina didn't understand why her instincts screamed to protect him now. The War Council would call it treason. Her sisters would hunt her for betrayal, but the war itself was rotten. She had seen civilians buried in rubble, children crying for water while leaders toasted victories in glass towers. And this human, this strange, stubborn man, he moved through all of it not with power, but with purpose. He helped wounded Velexi. He shared food with enemies. He carried a child from a burning bunker without asking which species it was. She saw it all from the shadows. Her mission shifted quietly from kill him to watch him. Then from watch him to understand him. And then, finally, to protect him. But he didn't know who she really was. To him, she was just a silent guardian. He called her the Shadow, thinking she was a legend. He spoke of her around campfires. "I think someone's watching out for me," he once said. "Every time death comes close, it misses. Feels like someone's changing the wind." He smiled at the stars then. And she, watching from above, felt her chest ache in a way she never trained for. Then came the ambush. A Velexi kill squad had tracked him deep into the canyon sector. 20 soldiers, armed and brutal, moved in without mercy. He fought like a beast, but they overwhelmed him fast. Blood splattered on rocks. He screamed as a blade pierced his leg. That's when she revealed herself. She dropped from the cliff like thunder. Her twin blades sang through the air. Velexi soldiers turned, stunned to see one of their own attacking them. "She's gone rogue," one yelled, but it was too late. She cut through them with precision and fury. Her body shielded his as plasma rained from above. She didn't think. She only moved to keep him alive. When the last soldier fell, silence covered the canyon. He looked up at her, wide-eyed, chest rising fast. "You," he gasped. "You're real." Blood dripped from her shoulder. Her armor was cracked. She didn't speak. Just offered her hand and pulled him to his feet like. It was the only thing that mattered. Zarina didn't explain why she saved him. She just walked ahead, guiding him through the rocky canyon without looking back. The human limped behind her, using a broken metal rod as a crutch. He was bleeding and tired, but his eyes stayed fixed on her armored back. He didn't ask her name or reason. He just followed like he already trusted her with his life. When night fell, they found shelter under a collapsed bridge. He sat by a flickering fire made from scrap and fuel gel. She stood at the edge, scanning the shadows for danger. "You're not going to kill me," he said quietly. It wasn't a question. She said nothing. The silence between them was not empty. It was filled with understanding. He leaned back and looked up at the stars. "My name's Carter," he said. "And I'm guessing you're not allowed to be here with me." Her jaw clenched. She had no orders now. She was already marked as a traitor. The only rule left was survival. And still, her eyes flicked to him, watching his wounds, counting his breaths, listening to the human's strange way of trusting so easily. Back at Velixi Command, alarms were ringing. Zarina's biometrics had vanished from the kill squads. Mission tracker. Her last known location matched the area of the human's last sighting. General Tarek slammed his fist into the console. "She betrayed the oath," he growled. "Send hunters. Bring back her head." Across the galaxy, war drums began to beat louder, but Zarina didn't care about war now. Something inside her had changed the moment she saw Carter bleed and smile. At death, he had no armor, no fangs, no venom, yet he stood against armies. He laughed in pain and walked through fire to save strangers. His courage wasn't loud like Velixi pride. It was quiet, stubborn, and somehow more powerful. They crossed abandoned cities where machines still flickered with dying lights. Carter limped beside her, leaning on her when the pain grew worse. She gave him a stim shot only once, knowing more would hurt his human body. Still, he didn't complain. "You know," he said one evening, "you're not what I expected." Velixi killers don't usually care if their target eats or breathes. Her silence made him smile again. She caught him when he collapsed on the fourth night. The infection in his leg had spread fast. Fever burned through him. He trembled in her arms, eyes wild with pain. She pressed her hand to his chest, listening to the fragile heartbeat. Then she carried him across cracked terrain, through acid storms, past sensor mines. She didn't stop until they reached the ruins of an old med station. Inside, she broke the lock and powered the emergency AI. The machine hissed awake, its voice glitching. "Unauthorized entry. Medical override required." She jammed a blade into the interface. "Override accepted," it replied. She laid Carter on the metal bed, watching the bots work on him with cold hands. Her own hands stained with blood. And ash curled into fists. The AI tried to speak again. "Patient data incomplete. Species unknown." She growled and forced the human's ID chip onto the scanner. The system paused, then began treatment. As the machines worked, she stood over him, unmoving. For the first time since her birth, she felt fear not of dying, but of losing something she didn't even know she had found. Carter woke up hours later, groggy and weak. His hand found hers and squeezed. She flinched, unused to touch. But she didn't pull away. "You stayed," he whispered. "Why?" She didn't answer. Couldn't. She had no words for the thing growing inside her, a loyalty not born from orders or blood, but from something far older. Outside, the hunter squad arrived. Elite Velixi, trained like Zarina, moved in silent lines. They found the med station and surrounded it with sniper units. One of them, a tall male with glowing armor, spoke into a mic. "Zarina, surrender the human. Come out now. You will be judged with honor." His voice was calm but cold. She didn't move. Her eyes never left Carter, still resting. The moment she stepped outside, they would kill him. She knew their tactics. They would take her down last, make her watch. She looked at the exit, then at her twin blades, then at his face. Her choice was already made before the thought finished. Forming, she turned off the med station lights and activated full lockdown. Red sirens glowed dimly. Carter opened one eye and saw her putting on her mask. "What's happening?" he croaked. She glanced at him only once, voice sharp and soft. "Stay down, don't move, I'll come back." Then she vanished into the shadows like death itself. The Velixi hunters moved like shadows, surrounding the med station with expert precision. Their armor shimmered in the red warning lights. They didn't speak again. They were trained for silence, for swift justice, for loyalty to the code. But this mission wasn't about justice anymore. It was about betrayal. About Zarina choosing a human over her own blood. From the roof, Zarina watched them. Her mask filtered the heat signatures. She counted 10 hunters, 3 snipers, and 1 command leader, Rallick. He had trained beside her once. She knew his movements. His breathing, even his pride. He wouldn't back down. Not unless forced. She whispered to herself, "He'll go for the kill if I show weakness." Then she leaped into the dark. She struck from above like a lightning bolt. Her blade sliced through the nearest sniper before he could react. His weapon clattered on the ground. Alarms went off in Velixi helmets, voices barking orders. "She's here," someone yelled. But she was already gone, diving into the smoke and wreckage like a ghost that refused to be caught. Rallick stepped forward, holding a shock pike. "Zarina, stop this madness. You had honor, you had rank. Now you die for a worthless human?" His voice was calm but full of anger. She didn't answer. She didn't need to. Her blades did the talking, dancing through the air as sparks flew. In every direction. Inside the med station, Carter sat up groaning. The healing gel had worked, but the pain was still deep. He could hear the sounds of battle outside, metal hitting metal, boots stomping, fire hissing. He wanted to stay still, like she told him. But he couldn't. Not while she was out there. Alone, he dragged himself from the bed, limping toward the wall panel. His fingers shook as he pulled it open and ripped out a loose wire. The backup door release clicked. He grabbed a broken staff and moved through the side tunnel, heart pounding. He didn't know if he'd make it in time. But he knew one thing, he wouldn't leave her behind. Zarina's fight turned brutal. 2 of her old teammates lay on the ground, groaning in pain. She wasn't trying to kill them, just disable them. But they weren't showing the same mercy. One stabbed at her back. She spun and blocked, then kicked him into a wall. Rallick rushed her next. Their weapons clashed, blades screaming. "You used to be the best," he snarled. "Now look at you." Protecting soft flesh and weakness. She didn't speak, but her eyes blazed through the mask. Her strikes came faster now. He blocked one, then another, but the third sliced across his thigh. He fell back with a curse, breath heavy. She pointed her blade at him without mercy. "Why?" he asked, spitting blood. "What makes him so special?" She paused for just 1 second. "He's not like us," she said. "But he's more honorable than any of you." The words cut deeper than any blade. The hunters around them froze. That silence, the kind that changes things, hung in the air like a storm about to break. Then a loud crack shattered the stillness. Carter stumbled from the shadows, face bruised, holding the staff like a club. "I told you not to do this alone," he said. Zarina turned, shocked. "You should have stayed inside." He grinned through the pain. "And miss this reunion?" "No chance." The foolishness in his voice somehow gave her strength. Rallick stood again, limping. "So this is the human?" He sneered. "You'll die beside him then." He raised his shock pike and charged, but Carter didn't move. Zarina did. She slammed into Rallick with her full weight, throwing both of them to the ground. Her blade hovered near his throat. "Don't make me do this," she whispered. Rallick looked into her eyes and saw something unfamiliar: tears. Not fear, not regret, but sorrow. Then he dropped his weapon and turned his face away. "Go," he muttered, "before I change my mind." The other hunters didn't move. No one stopped them as Irina helped Carter to his feet and led him past her former brothers. They didn't speak as they walked. Their breath was heavy. The stars above were cold. But for the first time, Zarina's shoulders weren't tense. She didn't expect betrayal from behind or an attack from the side. She had chosen her path. And somehow she felt freer than ever. Before, Carter finally broke the silence. "So what now?" She didn't answer right away. Then she looked at him and said, "Now we run, and we stay alive." He nodded. "Together?" She nodded once, not as an assassin, not as a protector, but as something new, something even she couldn't yet name. They moved at night and slept in daylight. Serena led them through ravines, over cracked lava fields, and deep into forgotten valleys. Her Velexi instincts helped them avoid patrols. Carter's human curiosity helped them spot food, shelter, and clues. Together, they became something the war never expected: alive, unpredictable, and united. Carter's body still hurt, but he healed faster than expected. The med station's nanogel had worked too well. At first, Zarina thought nothing of it, but then she noticed things. His reflexes got sharper, his wounds closed without scarring. His energy returned twice as fast as normal. She began to wonder if something was changing inside him. They found an old transport shuttle buried under vines. It was half functional, but Carter managed to hotwire the system using old Terran tricks. "Human stubbornness," he said, grinning. "Better than magic." Serena didn't smile, but she stood closer to him now. She didn't trust anyone anymore except him. They flew low, under radar, passing ruins of broken cities and glass. Fields scorched by orbital fire. The war had swallowed everything, and now, both sides wanted Carter dead. Velexi Command had placed a kill-on-sight order on Zarina. Human intel groups called Carter a potential traitor. No place in the galaxy wanted them. So they flew toward the one place war hadn't reached yet, the Storm Canyons. But peace didn't last long. A bounty signal lit up across the border sectors. Live capture, 50,000 credits. Dead, 30,000. It wasn't just Velexi hunters now. Mercenaries, raiders, and deserters all came sniffing for blood. One of them caught their trail near the Chill Canyon Ridge. A massive armored alien named Drogon. He blocked their path with a thermal blade in one hand and a shock chain in the other. "Turn him over, Velexi," he growled. "You can walk away." Serena didn't move. Carter stood behind her, silent. She drew her blades, slow and steady. "Try and take him," she said. "Let's see how many bones you leave behind." Her voice was like ice cutting through fire. The fight was brutal. Drogon fought like a monster, slamming his blade with enough force to split boulders. Serena dodged fast, but even she couldn't block everything. Carter jumped in once, swinging. A metal bar, only to be thrown across the rocks. She yelled at him to stay down, and for once, he listened. Zarina moved like lightning, slicing Drogon's shoulder and forcing him back. Blood poured from her own wounds. Her breathing got heavier, but her grip didn't shake. She knocked him off balance and spun behind him, blade at his neck. "Last chance," she hissed. Drogon sneered, then dropped his weapon. "Fine," he said. "But others will come, stronger than me." Then he ran, bleeding into the shadows. Carter limped back to her side. "You're hurt," he said. "So are you," she replied. They collapsed near a rock wall, catching their breath. Blood ran down her arm. Carter tore a piece of his shirt and wrapped her wound. She didn't stop him. His touch was warm, steady, human. And it meant more than she could say. Later that night, as they hid in a cave lit by starlight, Zarina asked the question that had been burning in her mind. "Why did you heal so fast?" Carter frowned. "I don't know. Ever since the med station, I feel stronger, like something's different inside me." She scanned his arm and found trace readings, Velexi gene markers. The med station hadn't just healed him. It had changed him. The realization hit her like a punch. "You carry Velexi DNA now," she said. "You're not just human anymore." Carter's eyes widened. "What does that mean?" She looked away. "It means both sides will want to use you or destroy you." The silence after her words felt like the moment before a storm. Then the cave shook. A scanner beacon had locked onto them. Lights flashed from the cliffs. A dropship descended fast, loaded with elite forces. Not Velexi, not human, private war-tech mercs. "Someone sold our position," Zarina said. "They're not here to capture. They're here to erase us." Carter stood, gripping the stolen blade tight. She looked at him, seeing not just a man but a new kind of soldier, one who didn't belong to any flag. "You ready?" she asked. He nodded. "With you?" She stepped close and touched his chest. "Always." Then they ran toward the dropship together, side by side, not as hunter and target, but as something far more dangerous. The dropship landed like thunder crashing through the cliffs. Dust and metal fragments exploded into the night. Carter and Zarina barely had time to duck behind a rock ledge before plasma bolts rained down. The mercenaries weren't sending warnings. They came with full intent to kill. Zarina pulled Carter close and activated a small pulse field around them. It shimmered weakly, barely enough to deflect light fire. "They're not using normal tech," she said. "This is private military grade. Someone rich wants you dead." Carter's heart pounded. "Any chance they're just confused?" Her sharp glance was all the answer he needed. The squad moved in fast, 12 soldiers in black armor, with glowing red visors. They fanned out, using smoke grenades and drones to close the perimeter. Zarina's eyes scanned the terrain. She spotted a weakness near a broken generator tower. "We go there," she said. "You follow close. No hesitation." Carter nodded, gripping his stolen blade tighter. They moved through smoke and chaos. Zarina was a blur of motion, slashing and dodging between bursts of fire. Carter stayed close, swinging his blade to keep attackers at bay. He wasn't as fast, but he was smart. He tripped one enemy over a broken pipe and cracked another's helmet. With a well-aimed swing, the mercs began to realize this human was not so easy to kill. One of the mercs got close enough to grab Carter's arm. Sparks shot out where their skin touched. The merc screamed and flew backward like lightning struck him. Carter stared at his own hand. "What was that?" he gasped. Zarina had seen it too. "Your body's changing faster than I thought," she said. "You're not just carrying Velexi DNA, you're activating it." The merc leader, a tall being named Dirac, stepped forward. His armor was thicker, and he carried a dual-core plasma cannon. "You should have stayed hidden," he growled. "But now your blood will power a weapon that ends this war." He raised the cannon toward Carter. Zarina threw a blade, striking the weapon's side and knocking it off aim. Dirac roared and charged. Zarina met him head-on, blade against blade. Sparks flew as they clashed. Meanwhile, Carter was dragged away by two mercs trying to subdue him with shock cuffs. His body trembled again, this time not from pain, but from something deeper. Energy surged from his chest, down his arms, into the cuffs. The metal melted instantly. Carter broke free and spun, fists glowing faintly. He slammed both attackers with a strength that wasn't human. They hit the ground hard and didn't get up. Breathing heavily, he looked at his hands. "What's happening to me?" he shouted. Zarina kicked Dirac away and sprinted to Carter's side. "You're becoming something new," she said. "Something they all fear." They ran again, deeper. into the old power station ruins. Behind them, the remaining mercs chased without mercy. Carter stumbled once, falling into a hidden chamber that cracked open beneath his feet. Zarina dropped in after him. The space inside was massive metal walls lined with ancient alien tech. Glowing softly in forgotten languages, Zarina stared. In shock, "This isn't just a ruin," she said. "This is a core vault, built by the founders. No one's seen one in centuries." Carter reached toward one of the glowing pedestals. As his fingers brushed the surface, the entire room lit up. Lights ran along the walls. Symbols shifted into Terran and Velexi. Then a voice spoke. Hybrid recognized. Human Velexi genome confirmed. Defense protocol activated. The wall behind them opened, revealing armor pieces shaped for a humanoid form. Carter looked at Zarina. "It responded to me." She stepped back, eyes wide. "That's not armor. That's founder tech. It's alive." The mercs outside tried to blast their way in. The vault's door sealed shut just in time. The voice continued. "Interface stable. Authorization granted." The armor lifted and began attaching itself to Carter slowly, carefully, like it was choosing him. He didn't resist. Zarina watched, heart racing, as the pieces snapped into place. His body lit up with lines of light under the armor. The moment it locked, he stood taller, stronger. His wounds were gone. "I feel everything," he said softly. "Every sound, every movement. I can hear their heartbeats behind the wall." Zarina stepped closer. "You're not just human anymore. You're something they've been trying to create for years. A bridge between species." Asterisk, the armor moved with him like a second skin. It responded to his thoughts before he could speak. Carter didn't feel heavy or slow. He felt balanced, powerful, alive. Zarina stood at his side, watching him not as a protector now, but as an equal, something more than human, and something greater than Velexi. The vault's walls rumbled again as the mercenaries outside tried breaching through. "They won't stop," Zarina said. "They'll keep coming until one of us is dead." Carter nodded slowly. "Then maybe it's time we stop running." The light in his eyes wasn't anger. It was purpose. Calm, focused, dangerous purpose. The calm Thoki. Vault opened from inside. Carter stepped into the broken light of the canyon with Zarina beside him. The remaining mercenaries raised their weapons. Their commander, Dirac, lifted his plasma cannon again. "Last warning," he growled. "Give up the hybrid." Carter stepped forward and raised one hand. The cannon exploded before it could fire. The force knocked Dirac back 10 meters. The others tried to attack, but the moment their weapons fired, Carter's armor responded with a shimmering energy wall. The blasts bounced away, striking the cliffs. One mercenary dropped his rifle and fell to his knees. "We're not paid enough for this," he whispered. The battle ended not with blood, but with silence. The mercs ran, broken in fear. Carter stood in the center of the canyon, breathing slowly. Zarina looked around and knew what had changed. He wasn't just some lucky human anymore. He had become the message, the weapon, the hope. And now the galaxy would hear him speak. They stole a new vessel from a smuggler port 3 systems over. It wasn't fast, but it had a wide-range beacon. Carter tuned it to the central war frequencies shared by both the Human Coalition and the Velexi Command. Zarina watched him record the message as lights blinked across the dash. "My name is Carter Rial," he said. "I'm not your enemy. But I'm also not yours to control. You both tried to use me. You both sent killers to stop me. But now I know what I am. I am proof that human and Velexi blood can unite. That war is not the only answer. That power doesn't belong to generals, it belongs to those who protect, not destroy." The message spread across the galaxy in seconds. Some laughed, some called it a hoax, others panicked. But a spark had been lit. Velexi rebels replayed the words in their hidden camps. Human soldiers questioned their orders. And deep inside government towers, both sides asked the same thing. What? If he was right, Zarina placed her hand on Carter's shoulder. They'll come harder now, she said. They'll want to silence you forever. He turned to her, calm as ever. Let them come. I'm done hiding. We fight, but not for war. We fight for the end of it. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried more weight than any fleet. The final battle didn't come on a field. It came in orbit, above the neutral world of Relis. Carter and Zarina landed there, knowing both sides would try to intercept. But what they didn't expect was who greeted them. A small group of Velixi soldiers and human defectors stood together, unarmed, carrying a white flag and worn-out banners of peace. One Velixi elder stepped forward. Her voice shook as she spoke. We've seen enough death. If you are what you claim, we will stand behind you. Carter looked at Zarina. She gave the smallest nod. And then, for the first time since the war began, a group of humans and Velixi walked side by side into a negotiation chamber. The leaders didn't trust each other. The politicians argued. But Carter didn't let them take control. He spoke for both sides. He showed what the Founder armor could do. He revealed his DNA. He told them of Zarina, of her betrayal, her loyalty, and the moment she chose to save a human instead of kill him. By the end, the room wasn't quiet from fear but from respect. And when peace talks truly began, Carter and Zarina didn't stay to watch. They left before the credits rolled, before the statues rose, before the historians wrote their names in fire or gold. They had done what they came to do. Now they wanted freedom, not fame. They disappeared into the stars. Some say they settled on a forgotten moon where the war never reached. Others say they still fly between the systems, watching, guarding, waiting. But no one ever doubted the truth again, that she was sent to kill him, and instead, she chose to defend him with her life.